We just witnessed something special. The Toronto Blue Jays win a huge bounce back game against the Baltimore Orioles. But the big storyline in this game was one specific thing that is extremely unlikely to ever happen on a baseball field. It just happened. We're going to break it down and discuss what it means going forward as the Jays battle a bunch of injuries and other things as well. So stay tuned for all that in this episode. But before we get into it, if you're a part of the percentage who aren't subscribed to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys again for your continued support. Ladies and gentlemen, a ton to go over today. The Toronto Blue Jays, again, there's no must-win games this early on in the season, but they split the series against the Baltimore Orioles in the season opener in a fantastic game. The Jays, they needed to win this game. I mean, the Yankees are out there using corked bats, basically, using these huge barrel bats. The AL East is going to be tight all season long, and you have to win these games. And this team already looks more special. They already look better than they did in previous years. But we saw something in this game which was absolutely insane, which we'll get into a little bit later. But ladies and gentlemen, let's dive into this game. If you missed it, it was one of the wilder games for one specific reason in a very long time. We'll dive into that reason a little bit later. But let's talk about the Toronto Blue Jays today. And obviously coming into this game, you have Chris Bassitt taking the bump with an absolutely, a stellar game from him. And it wasn't one that was traditional, right? I mean, Chris Bassitt coming into this game, we were all curious to see how he was going to do. And he comes out, and we'll start with the pitching today because I want to get into the hitting a little bit later. He comes out, and yes, you do see that correctly. He threw 106 pitches in his first start, which is a little bit crazy. But regardless of that, 6 innings pitched, 6 hits. Yes, 6 hits for Chris Bassitt. Against Chris Bassitt, that is, but he managed to get out of it every single time. Now, whether that was because of stellar defense, whether that was just him getting limiting contact, this was a great game for Chris Bassitt and a bit of a rare strikeout game for him as well. Just an absolutely fantastic one. And this is a game where if you're the Toronto Blue Jays, you are depleted a little bit in the bullpen. And we'll have a video later tonight on a bunch of different things that came out today, a bunch of different moves, but also some new updates that have huge implications. But your 3 relief guys were Brendan Little, Yariel Rodriguez, and Jeff Hoffman. And Brendan Little's fantastic. He looks absolutely great. He's going to be a pivotal point of this team for the foreseeable future for the Jays, right? He's their main lefty, and he's their only lefty now, following one of the moves surrounding Richard Lovelady being DFA'd. But now you're thinking about, again, Jimmy Garcia wasn't available tonight. Chad Green wasn't available tonight. And of course, Eric Swanson is injured. Yariel Rodriguez here in one of the wilder, spots for him in the top of the 8th inning comes out, and he's been struggling in spring. He's struggling as I believe it was the first game of the season. He's just been struggling in general. He comes out and he's pumping 98 miles per hour. He's using his fastball almost like 90% of the time. Absolutely fantastic. He looked great. And this is a role where I think Yariel Rodriguez can really shine. And you can see this here from Thomas Hall. An outing like that is a perfect example of how versatile Yariel Rodriguez can be for this Blue Jays bullpen. Consistency is the key, of course, and needs to show more of it, but that's the Yariel that this bullpen needs in 2025. One of the biggest reasons for that, you look at Yariel Rodriguez, right? And you look at what he can bring. And he can bring a ton of different things, whether he's going to be a long relief guy, whether he's going to be the guy out of the pen who's pitching in the 8th inning when John Schneider used Jimmy Garcia for some reason in yesterday's blowout, kind of when it was 9-5. This was a fantastic game for Yariel Rodriguez, and this is what's going to make the difference going forward for the Jays. Now, as you switch over to the hitting a little bit here, again, Chris Bassitt, 6 innings pitched, 7K is fantastic. You look over the hitting, the boys are hitting well. Vladdy, and don't get deceived by all the numbers. Santander had a bit of a rough game, but besides that, people are absolutely, these Jays players are smoking the ball. Vladdy 1 for 4. He is crushing pitches. Just missed the home run in his first at bat in the bottom of the first. You have Andres Jimenez, who we'll dive into in a minute here. He is the reason the Jays won this game. There's men on first, Bichette with 2 outs in the first inning. He gets a left field gapper, getting a double there, second and third, and then George Springer comes out and laces a single to right center. You are at a point now where George Springer looks good. You have Anthony Santander, the newly acquired Anthony Santander. Andres Jimenez, who we all clowned John Schneider for, making him the cleanup hitter. I still don't think it is the long-term play. I don't think he is a cleanup hitter, but regardless of that, he looks very solid. And defensively, he made one of the better plays you'll see with Jeff Hoffman on the bump. He is fantastic. It's quickly becoming a fan favorite for myself and a bunch of other players. Well, he is just absolutely fantastic. But the big storyline here, Alan Roden struggled a little bit. Tyler Heineman. Yes, Tyler Heineman in his however many seasons he's in, and this is something you'll rarely see on the baseball field. He comes out, and not only does he hit a huge insurance home run to put them up 3-1 to heading into the top of the 8th inning, Tyler Heineman hit, not only bat flipped his home run, But ladies and gentlemen, he hit this against Cionel Perez of the Baltimore Orioles, who didn't give up a single home run last season in over 53 innings, which is, again, Buck Martinez talking about the broadcast. It is the most unlikely bat flip you'll probably ever see. But regardless of that, it is just one of the crazier moments. And again, it's still early on in the season. Everything is super exciting. That was a huge insurance run. It's a guy that's his second career home run. He's been around forever. This was a huge insurance run, especially in a game where the Jays' pen was riddled, right? It's been riddled with not injuries necessarily, but a little bit poor performance injuries. Cionel Perez gave up 0 home runs last season in over 53 innings. Tyler Heineman breaks the streak. And this was it wasn't like it was a, blowout home run. This was a needed home run, put them up by 2, gave some cushion to ultimately what ended up being Jeff Hoffman making his Blue Jays closer, save opportunity debut. Because we saw his, first game yesterday. Looked fantastic, by the way. Everything looked and worked perfectly. You have your offense rolling. You have your bullpen, even though they're battered a little bit, come out and look fantastic. You have Brandon Little being great. Jeff Hoffman, we'll dive into in a second. Yuri Rodriguez looking like he can actually be a guy in this bullpen to be reckoned with. And just coming into this game, the big question mark was, can this team bounce back? Because if they go down 1-3 to start the year, it's not the end of the world. But this Orioles team, even without Gunnar Henderson and Grayson Rodriguez, are a very good team. Sugano made his MLB debut, and Sugano had to leave the game early. The Jays were all over him, and their offense looked different this year. Every time they went down 1-0 to start the game, Chris Bassett got 2 quick outs and then gave up a run on a poor missed ball by Tyler Heineman. We're going to call it they'll probably call it a wild pitch, but it was a pass ball. And that pass ball led to a run, which ultimately he got back himself, but it doesn't matter. Tyler Heineman, after the pass ball, Chris Bassett did not give up a run for the rest of the game, and they limited the damage. When you're going up against your 4th, your 5th starters, you have to be able to score runs. The Jays went down early, and for the 3rd straight game, they come back, 4th straight game, and they get runs back, even though in the other couple games they didn't win necessarily. All signs are pointing to just good things for the Toronto Blue Jays team. And then, of course, you finish it off with Jeff Hoffman going 1 inning, 2 Ks. He looks fantastic. He is going to be the Jays closer. He has his nasty splitter. He can go a lot. He can go 2 innings, multiple innings as well. He is a former starter. He was obviously the setup guy for the Phillies last year. It's at the point now where the team looks good. Tyler Heineman hit a home run where he bat flipped, which is absolutely absurd. And all things are good. The Jays now move into tomorrow's game against the Washington Nationals with Bowden Francis's first game of the year with the bullpen that is going to be a little bit healthier, I should say, because you're obviously going to have Jeff Hoffman probably not going to be available tomorrow. Yuri Rodriguez may be available. Brennan Little might be available. Regardless, you have Chad Green and Jimmy Garcia is going to slide into that closer spot. So it's going to be exciting. Ladies and gentlemen, baseball is fully back. We're going to have another video for you all later tonight. So stay tuned for that. Tons of content coming. I'm back in my normal setup now. So bear with me. Ladies and gentlemen, tons of new videos coming for you all. So make sure to subscribe button. Cheers.